Yahsonn.
Real conversation.
Real conversation. Lately we be having conversations with people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Tuesday night and everybody tuned in live. Bankie Yahsonn bringing reason in every time. Talking politics and the things affecting lives. Breaking down the stories they be trying to hide. Used to trust the system, now the trust gone. Everybody talking loud, but the facts wrong. People tired of the fake and the gimmicks too, so they coming to these topics for a clear review. Got the whole Caribbean locked on the station. Real entertainment network building conversations. No script vibes, now stage for the camera. Just real people talking straight with stamina. And we be having conversations cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now it's red. Everybody got opinions, you got facts instead. We be having conversations with people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Sometimes Fridays got a special live session. Big topics got the whole place stressing. Agriculture, crime, economy discussion. Every episode spark another conversation, and the comments start flying when the lights start. Everybody got a view from the heart. Some agree and some disagree too, but at least the topics bringing real views. No pretending when the mic turn on. Yahsonn reasoning while Bankie stay strong. People checking in from overseas too, cause I finished conversation hard to come through. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Into the world, the Topiks, Bankie Yahsonn.
Greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. It's another beautiful Tuesday evening here in the Federation of Oli and Layamiga, the indigenous names known for the islands known as Nevis and St. Kitts. I want to say good evening also to our brothers and sisters throughout the entire Eastern Caribbean, wherever you may be at this time. And we say good morning, afternoon, evening. Some one of those greetings may be applicable to you, depending on where you may be geographically. This evening, we have another exclusive edition of the Topics, and we have two special guests this evening, and my usual co-host, Bankie. But before we get into that, we want to say a very special good night to the people of the Islander Water Sports. That's Plug-Eye and the good guys for the ferry service that takes you between St. Kitts and Nevis from Oli to Reggae Beach. If you want to get between St. Kitts and Nevis, you call these guys. If you need to travel to somewhere in the neighboring islands, because they do charters to St. Martin, Anguilla, St. Bart's, Statia, you just hook them up. Even if it's late night and you want to charter 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you can call in the Islander Water Sports and they have you organized. And while you're there, maybe waiting for the boat, and you need something refreshing to drink, and or you need something to eat, you can just walk across on the rock, and that's the name of the restaurant exactly. On the Rocks restaurant over there, and they'll be able to provide you with some, wonderful beverages and, great dishes as well. So, and just tell them that we sent you, because they listen to the Topics. They listen to Real Entertainment Networks. Tell them that we sent you, and they might just put in something for you. Also want to say good night to Shabazz Organics. The good folks there at Mansa's Last Stop there at Cadesby. Lots of things always happening there. Always something buzzing, interesting happening there at Mansa's Last Stop. And you can always get your fresh fruits and veggies, local drinks, marby and things like that. Check them out right now. Lots of melons are over there, bananas as usual. Check them out. And if you're in Nevis and you're looking for transportation to get you around, Imperial Rides, Taxi and Tours, they're definitely always available to take you around. So you just check out the good folks at Imperial Rides and they'll be able to take you out. And if you need another, additional place to eat, Heritage Cafe inside Heritage Village. Check them out. They've got the best local food on the island and some of the best local dishes. And they serve you in traditional dishes like those. Remember those enamel cups and plates that we had back in the day when the Japan niggas pal and so? Yeah, man. So that nostalgic feeling is brought to you when you eat over at Heritage Cafe. So go on over, check them out, and just tell them we sent you as well. Well, with all that, those are our sponsors for the program. And we want to thank all of our sponsors. And you are also open to be a sponsor of the program or any of the programs here on Real Entertainment Network. Just reach out to any one of us. Myself, Alan, Bankie, and we can always get you organized. All right. With that said, I'm going to give my co-host an opportunity. Oh, but before that, I want to encourage all of you who are logged on, subscribe to the YouTube platform, subscribe to the Facebook, like, share, spread the word. Click on the notification bell so that you're informed every time we have a program. You don't want to miss this nor any other. So with that said, Bankie, greetings. Welcome to this edition of the Topiks.
Yes, and good evening to our guests, and also good evening to those who tune in to Real Entertainment Network. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. You could be listening to any media house, but you choose to spend your time with us, and for that we are very grateful. Also, let me say thanks to those who come out every day on a regular basis and patronize Manso's Last Stop and Shabazz Organics for keeping my Uncle Mansa what he wanted alive. We're serving the community where you have a 4-acre farm and you have a little supermarket and a mini restaurant where one can come eat, have lunch, good company, close to the sea, right on the seaside. And if you don't want to be on the front, you can just go at the back, chill in a hammock, just enjoy the farm and be inspired. So I can't stress enough. Every time I come here, also got to big up the manager in the shop and in the kitchen, Amonis, and on the weekends come over her sister Aisha and help out, and the older sister in Philadelphia, Tasha, big up yourself. Greatly appreciate it and working together and keeping my Uncle Mansa legacy alive, especially he was part of the agriculture sector for all his life, over 50 years. And he had the situation in where a farm model where a farmer should live on his farm, where he can spend more time with his family. And that is what is. So you'll find something like this is one of the only one in Nevis. So passing on the side of the road, I just driving by, you'll just figure you see a building, but not understanding you're missing out on a niche part that is whole 4 acres of food behind there that come up and go inside there. Also today, let me big up. This morning we had some guests, the Montessori school there at Stony Grove. They have a summer camp going on, so I got to shout them out. They bring the kids by. We have teach them about composting and farming and stuff like that. They really had some fun. Also got to big up the one there for Tammy Reed, her daughter there, and Kelvin Hobson, and also their cousin, Mr. Wahib. Got to make sure I pronounce this man name right. This is the future scientist, one of our leader, Wahib Jeffers. That's the son of Wayne Jeffers of Kodakode, and Karen Hobson over there in Cotton Ground. So Wahib had me busy, questioning me, telling me I own YouTube channel and all these different stuff. Brilliant mind. He's already skipped a class because he's 6 years, but he's already in grade 1, so he's going to grade 2 when school open. Brilliant mind and a beautiful thing, and nothing expecting less of him. So Wahib, big up yourself. You understand? And all the other children who came by, the one.
Bankie, your mic is muted in a Bankie. Your mic is muted. No, okay. So Bankie is having a bit of technical difficulty, it seems, on his end. You all are hearing me, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, what I'll do until Bankie get himself organized, I am going to before I introduce the guest, I am going to give a little brief introduction to, well, at least what I know about the group. So we have two guests this evening um, of the St. Kitts and Nevis Alliance for Equality, and they have the acronym SKNAFE. And well, we are going to learn a little bit more about the group. But before I do that, I'll introduce. Well, we will do. I guess maybe seniority. So we'll work with the senior Mary, and then we get down to, well, Tynetta, but we say it's a tiny. So let's work with tiny for tonight, right? But we'll allow Mary to introduce herself, and then we get over to tiny. So Mary, greetings, welcome to Topiks.
Hi, good evening. All right, my name is Mary Keynes. I'm a nurse by profession, and I work along with SKN Alliance for about how much years now? A good amount of years. And I'm a community liaison officer attached to the government that works along with the community, doing linking persons to healthcare services, health services within St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah, and even linking other vulnerable groups or which SKN Alliance affiliate with. Yes.
Okay, all right. So in brief, that's Mary Keynes, a community nurse, and is attached to working with um, groups, which includes groups that are attached to the SKN Alliance as well. We're going to get to Tynetta McKoy. And so, Tiny, welcome to this edition of the Topics. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
Can't hear you.
Tiny seems to be having a bit of technical thing now, but when we started off, everything was going good. We're not hearing you, Tiny. So um, check and see if your mic is muted. There should be a little box in the middle of your screen. Okay, got it?
Let him refresh. Let him turn it. You can sign off and sign back in.
Okay, so maybe you need to refresh and come back. In the meantime, okay, so Bankie is back, so I guess I would give him an opportunity to do that while huh? Yeah, so
Yes.
Bankie,
I'm not.
greetings.
Yeah, greetings, Justin, and those who tuning in. I'm not sure where I'd left off, but we're speaking about the young man there from Karen and James and Wayne Jeffers, Wahib, brilliant youth. Also had me going full speed. Never a dull moment. So Wahib, big up yourself. Definitely, you understand the future of SKN is looking brilliant with those set of young children there. I also want to see for Mrs. Reed and Kelvin Hobson also. So you have two cousins was there, Mr. Gaskell, Charles' daughter was there, and some others, which I'm not familiar with them, but all of them who was there and the teacher got to big them up from the Montezuma School. So tomorrow should have a community development, should have a workshop going on. So should have expect close 60 students tomorrow also. So that's another Park day will keep me busy also till I teach them about agriculture and so forth. And then Friday might have just two of them from the agriculture come by who do the internship and the summer program that they have there. So definitely always looking forward to engaging the children and letting know the importance of agriculture and the environment and stuff like that. So again, let me say thanks for all those who tuning into Real Entertainment Network and all those who come out every day. That's suppose Shabbos and Mansa's last stop. So, Yahsonn.
Hear me
Okay,
now?
I am. Yes. Okay, so you're good. So before we let Tiny introduce himself, I'll go back to SKN Alliance for Equality. SKN AFE is the acronym. It is a non-governmental organization, an NGO dedicated to working with and for the LGBTQ community on St. Kitts and Nevis. It provides a safe space through advocacy, self-empowerment, human rights promotion, training, and services. The organization describes itself as a platform for the LGBT community, aiming for a society where every citizen is seen, valued, respected, and included. That's the backdrop. And so we would now have Tiny introduce to the public.
All right, so good night again. I'm Tynetta McKoy. You can call me Tiny. Um, I'm the founder and executive director of SKN Alliance, and I'm been working with this organization for over 11 years now. Um, Also, I'm connected to the regional organization that works with the LGBT population across the Caribbean as well, which is ICARE, Eastern Caribbean Diversity for Alliance as
Okay. Um, Bankie?
Okay. Yes. You mentioned that you have been out for 11 years, and you're the founder of this organization. So, what make you see the reason why an organization like this should be formed, and what pique your interest?
well. Basically to respond to discrimination, stigma, and the mental health challenges and barriers that LGBT people face within Saint Kitts and Nevis. So I felt in the moment having communication with different community members, we needed to create a safe space and start to educate the wider population in St. Kitts and Nevis to kind of understand what is LGBT rights, what is human rights by standard, because it's not necessarily LGBT rights, but basically human rights for across the board. Because all of us supposed to have the same right, not necessarily any special rights or anything. So just more of coming together to build these gaps that we face.
So, since the organization has been formed, if did some of these like you can explain to some of the treatment situation within the community that you guys face, the community face, and if since you have formed the group, is everything have been, if it's and if can you see any difference within the change that you are seeking for?
Definitely there's a lot of difference because I mean we do a lot of work around empowering people and we promote equality. Before the group form, obviously visibility was not a thing. A lot of people had a fear of being themselves, them true self. And you find a lot more community members are being true self within St. Kitts and Nevis and around the Caribbean per se. Um, there was a lot of discrimination happening in terms of if I come out to be a gay man, there was different stuff that stuff that are happening in the country where you had community members was afraid was afraid to actually go to the police station to make statements and those kind of things. And with empowerment, not only with our community but with the wider nation, even having empowerment session with stakeholders, different stakeholders within St. Kitts and Nevis, you realize there's a change where we are more visible. The police kind of cooperate a bit more with the community as well. So you're seeing that different change, and also you're seeing the general population are being more open and acceptance around these individuals because they realizing now that these people are human. And we all deserve, a life to live.
So how does one become a member of your organization? Does you have a ad? You have a website where people can reach out? Do you have to be a gay person to be a part of the group? How does that work?
So definitely we do have social media page where a person can get connected and reach out. I know you don't need to be a member of the community directly to be a part of the organization. Allies are important, but we also realize that again, LGBT community don't have special rights. We are all human. Sometimes, you know, you can be an ally, not necessarily be a part of the community, but you want to understand what kind of lifestyle your friend want to live. You want to understand your friend in a better perspective. So it's also good to also come forward.
Okay. I, I'm not sure if it's taken out. Okay. All right. I'm just making sure, 'cause I see we're having some technical difficulty, especially from where on my end. The next question. So, how large can you say what percentage? How large is your group? If you have to say in general, how much? If I'm not sure if there's a mostly, I'm trying to find the right term. When it comes to number, that is how much people within the community will say. But even those estimated who is not even a part of the community, in a sense, like the gay population could be 1%, 2%, because that number can play a lot when it comes to changes, when it comes to policies. You have a lot when it comes to elections and all this different stuff. If a lot of your rights is being infringed of, because this is very important. So, do you have those information? Like if you say, well, how large is the Rastafarian community? If it's 5%, 1%, 2%, because once there's numbers, and you vote, because election always keeping, and you've been around for over 11 years, and apart from your organization, there always been a member around it in the community, and if human rights are being infringed on, they should exercise that by not voting too and ask for something. So where does that stand when it come to, if you have any numbers when it come to how large is the community?
Well, technically, from this standpoint right now, I cannot give you a definite number to say this is a percentage of the community. But what I can do say is that we have engaged with numerous people from Singis and Nevis. In
Yes.
terms of the organization per se, I I can manfully say that we work with over 100 plus people within the organization. These are people that have been interacting and actually been coming to education sessions and being a part of activities that was hosted. But when you look around the wider population in Saints and Nevis, of course, we have LGBT people. We have LGBT people within in every aspect you think about. We have LGBT people in the businesses. We have LGBT people in the government. We have LGBT people in the healthcare profession. We have LGBT people who are media people as well. So
One
in
second,
terms of
1 second, Tiny. For some reason, your audio is not coming in clearly. I don't know if it's because of your earpiece, or I don't know what it is exactly, but like we're hearing you sometimes, and then sometimes we're not hearing you.
Well,
So,
let
uh,
him not use the
Mary,
earpiece. It'll be easier if you don't use the earpiece.
I mean,
It'll
Mary,
be
you're
easier if
saying
you
the
just,
same.
yeah, let him take out the earpiece. It'll be much better. Yes.
Okay, so yes, in the meantime, this is quite some interesting information. I did hear about this group or organization some time ago, by listening to a program that used to be aired on another um, radio station. There was Sister Michelina Hayes Charles, I think. I think there was a program on. I don't remember who were the persons on it, but spoke to the group, and I learned then that the group was a bit established and recognized by the government and all that and so forth. And so it's quite interesting. I didn't recognize that it was so much years that it has been that way. Um, so you're saying that it is formally registered as an NGO and St. Kitts and Nevis. And under which ministry or department does that registration fall?
Sure.
You st-
Yeah, but you're kind
um,
of low. Yeah, but you're kind of low. Go ahead.
no, barely hearing you. Um, and see, and
Okay. All right.
seemingly you have a lot to say. Mary, you think you could respond to that?
Yeah. So the group is registered with social service and gender affairs.
Hmm.
Social services, on the social services, community development.
And do you receive direct or indirect support from the government, whether it's funding, MOUs, technical assistance, or access to ministries? If yes, which specific ministries or agencies do you guys get support from, and in what form, if you care to respond?
Tiny.
Connecting because when I have it in my headphone, you can hear me.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, we're hearing you a bit better. So go ahead.
But I didn't hear the question. I didn't hear the question.
Okay, so let me repeat the question. The question was, do you receive any direct or indirect support from government, funding, MOUs, technical assistance, or access to ministries? If yes, which specific ministries or agencies?
Yes, over the years we have. We currently work very closely with the Ministry of Health in terms of the HIV program, and then we do a lot of work collaborating with gender affairs in terms of around gender and equality and those kind of stuff. Yes, we have received support from the government before, um, and just recently last year we was under MOU with the government as well. As I said, in terms of the work that we collaborate with the government, is more around the HIV aspect and meeting the key populations. So we do a lot of collaborating work with the Disability Association and different women's groups in St. Kitts. So we connect with the government in terms of that aspect.
Okay. How do you navigate advocacy work that may be sensitive in the policy environment while maintaining constructive relationships with state institutions?
Repeat that,
Huh?
repeat that question. I
Repeat.
didn't hear.
No, I was asking, how do you navigate advocacy work that may be sensitive in the policy environment while maintaining constructive relationship with with state institutions?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we as a country we have to deal with human rights. Um, Technically, we all know that the behavioral change, which has some recognition, and being an organization that we have done a lot of work. So we are connected into these international spaces like the UP and those kind of things. We actually have the opportunity to speak at the UP and those kind of stuff, and we just have general conversation with different stakeholders in terms of speaking and educating these different departments around LGBT rights because there's no better person to talk about LGBT rights or human rights than we the people. So we just have mutual conversation where we understand they understand us and we come to essential agreement. But
Okay,
it's not an
so
easy thing though.
not easy. Okay, which was leading to my next question now. Like, um, how is SKNAFE received in different communities across the Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis? Urban versus rural, faith communities, schools, workplaces.
Well, it's not about in terms of SKN Alliance being received in these different communities. As I said, we have done a lot of engagement with different stakeholders where we empower people, build education, and we exchange different um, stuff. So, like for example, with connecting with the disability group and we connected with women group, we realize that all of us have the same issues. So, if we can collaborate together and have and share these same values and have conversation around this, it's easy to be receptive. Currently, don't operate within the schools as you know we tend not to get involved with individuals under 18, so we actually connect with individuals from 18 and up, so we do not operate within the schools. As I said, we do a lot of work with the stakeholders, which mean that we connect a lot more with like teachers, healthcare providers, police officers. We kind of do more sensitization around that aspect.
Okay, what
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, that Tiny said they don't communicate with the school. Because here the age of consent is 6, so that really contradicts in a sense because at age 16 you're in school, and at age 16 they say you can give consent. I for one is that to change because you can't vote until you're 18, get a license, and a lot of stuff. And so why you have an
Well,
issue
it's
where you can when cause the school teach
it's
this thing, teach about sex in school and the sex education. You see what I mean? So I'm a realistic person, eh? So
yeah. So
if something is fair, I'm just gonna call it for what it is because You say you wait until an approach and speak to people who are 18, but yet we know in the community we live in, here we say 12 o'clock at lunchtime. So I'm the kind of person that where the shoe fit is where it fit. I don't hold sides. You understand? As an adult, people are responsible for their own self. But at the age of 16, when you're in school, when other organization can go to school children, speak to them about different projects within the community and stuff like that. So how you have an issue going to the school and speak same way?
All right. So one of the things that we have to also put in mind is that within St. Kitts and Nevis, whereas the age of consent is 16, when it comes to same-sex couple, the age of consent is currently 18 in St. Kitts and Nevis. So that's one of the reasons why we would not form an organization
Oh, really?
going to.
That is interesting. Wait.
Yes.
No, you got to repeat that one day. I never did that one day. I figure we're living in a democratic society where it's equal, everything is balanced. Because I'm not treated different to my sisters, and my sisters treated different to me. You see what I mean? So you're telling me the age of consent for males is 16, and the age of consent for the gay community. Me understand what you just say. Me trying to understand what you just say. That's what you say?
What I'm saying, based on law currently in St. Kitts and Nevis, yes,
Yeah.
the age of consent is. But when it comes to same-sex couple, based on law, the age of consent is currently within St. Kitts and
Well,
Nevis.
I want to know who would know this. Yes, and you know this? It's a news to me.
No, I didn't know of it, but I know that
Some madness.
what I know is that no, I didn't know, but what I know is that there, as he mentioned earlier in one of his discourse, that the Ogari laws would have been changed, and I don't know
Of
all
course,
of
I
what would
understand that.
have.
I know about that. I remember that case, of course.
What I'm saying is that might have been a part of the declaration during that time that, well, they accept same-sex couples, but now you have to be an adult, which is in our society 18 to consult. I mean, in terms
But who
of
come up with that dumb thing there? Because if you're going to change a law to suit, you change it generally overall for your community. So these are some of the issues. You see what I mean? So that should have been used if you're going to change a law, whether it's same sex or not. We're talking about adult. You see what I mean? So you can't have one part where you're gonna have so what make you gay? So me not understand that. So how you me not understand this thing here? Because this is confusing. Because
well,
once you,
okay,
I'm just saying
Bankie,
to understand this, yeah. Because if you see what I mean, this doesn't make sense.
no, but I guess there's still other things that you would have to look at because, okay, in our society,
Look at
you could be in
we
work.
don't know what you mean.
No, hold on. Well, listen what I'm saying.
I listen to
In our society, right? Apart
uh-huh.
from accepting the age to have, I mean, to have sexual intercourse at 16, you also have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to go into workforce at 16. It doesn't necessarily make you an adult, but you are legally you can work
That no
if you're
whole water.
16.
That no
No, I'm
whole
just telling
water.
you. So, you know,
We
say whole
about
water.
we dealing with we
It's
dealing
about
with
me. It's not about me.
what we're
It is
dealing
what the
with here,
system
yes.
is in the place.
No, we got what I want us
Remember
to do is hold
before,
accountable
okay,
the policymakers, because
hold
this is
on.
a bad policy.
Remember before the Buggery law was changed, we could not buy because it was illegal. So now they made a change, and within that change, because remember that wouldn't have been in existence before. So when they made that change, now that is what agreement I guess they came to, and I guess the consensus, all of them would have come to and they agree with and they deal with it. The thing is though, we didn't know about it, and like I said, I did hear about the case, but I guess we could discuss this at another time. But I think they are as they're doing information because we didn't know, and now we are learning by asking these questions. I guess we are finding out all this was going on. So good bit of information as you realize, and I'm sure a lot of the people in the public who are listening as well might not have known that. Um, in relation to the SKNFA, NAFE, sorry, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about the group, and how do you address them?
Well, for example, I mean, I don't know if maybe want to take this one, but um, but like you said, though, for example, a lot of people think that, like for example, you hear a conversation around, oh, people saying, oh, we're making people gay, we're making people this and those kind of stuff. But that's a misconception. First of all, you could never make anybody gay. We are all human beings, and I think based on how the world is today, I don't think nobody gonna get in their right mind and say, I wanna be gay. Understand? And I think what I think is how we deal with to combat that is basically education. Educate the public, educate stakeholders, educate everybody, even educate our community itself. Because even within our community itself, we realize that there are lack of information around it. So basically, with education becomes inclusion, which strengthens our federation. So that's basically our main goal is to educate and educate as much as we can as possible. Because that's the biggest misconception, to be honest. And then there's the other conception of like people we tend to say, oh, what's that maybe?
I was going to talk about the misconception that only certain group of persons can transmit HIV. So that's another misconception, right?
Yeah,
When it
definitely.
comes
And
to you in the group. So it's not where HIV doesn't have a face anymore. It's basically anybody can be infected once they are having unsafe sex practices, or even from blood transfusion dealing with injectables, drugs. So it's not where it's by this community or that community anymore. It's any and everybody can be infected. Right? So that was one misconception which started way back when HIV started, but that has been basically defunct, right? And Tiny continue.
well, I mean, another misconception is when we think around religion, a lot of people tend to say, you cannot be gay, you cannot be a Christian, right? But in that aspect as well, what we do as well, again, everything across the board is just education, education, education. I mean, we have done conversation with the Christian individuals from the Christian Council before. We have had conversation with different people that are part of the Christian community as well. Um, and again, it's just about education because again, it's just a concept on the level of knowledge that all of us have. And I think that over the years, what I think that I have realized is that the more you educate people and empower people, people understand, and the more you realize that it's a Nevis. Um, just so a couple years ago, I was on a program as well with a pastor within Saints and Nevis, just having conversation around the misconception of religion and LGBT people. But what I think is we are all human, and I think that's the main point about it.
Mhm.
We are all human. So again, the only thing that we do basically is educate
I
with all the
realize
different
Okay.
you don't have to use the word "we are all human," to get your point over. When by you doing that, it shows that have been getting a lot of fight over the years. So when you repeat the word level than that, it make you more comfortable, but you don't have to. I just want to let you know that. You understand?
understand
So if you're gonna speak,
definitely. But you
you
see,
speak. I'm just telling you. You understand? Because you're the CEO of the group, you're the leader of the group, and when you're gonna lead, you're gonna have to lead by example. Because we ain't seeing
appreciate.
animals around here. You understand what I mean? Because I have siblings who gay, male or female cousins, have no issue with nobody. Understand? So you ain't singing to the choir. I have no issue with
You
anyone.
see, the
Because
difference is
I understand
uh,
when. Cause you see, this is what I got locks in my head, and discrimination is discrimination. You understand? So I understand discrimination. I understand being looked down on, and cause I got to fight too. So when I stand for stuff, I stand for stuff. You understand? So I understand human rights issues. So so it's not like I don't understand these things. You see what I mean? My issue within the community is not people who like you who are bold and confident in yourself to speak. Is those who hide and pretend and pray within the community and stuff like that. that is where stuff becomes a problem. You see what I mean? We have
But
issues with. So people like you, I have no issue with, because we have. That's why I speak about the age of consent and stuff like that. Because just so we concern about our girls or whatever, we have to concern about the boys too, because the community that we live in. So I'm just telling you, you don't have to use the word human to give
I
recognition to
agree, I
please
agree, I
others. That's all it is. All right. So try not to
agree.
do that.
But no problem. But I agree. What I would say though is that, so you mentioned that you don't have issues with people and who are out and about, right? But also too, what we have to think about is the mental health
Yes.
aspect of these individuals who can't come out, and the reason why they can't come out is because of how we as society view them. Because I mean, there are situations where sometimes you're literally just sitting on a step, having a conversation with somebody, but that person doesn't know who
Yes.
you are inside. And the comments that they make
Of course.
is the reason why these people saying things. Whereas we have a situation with people that still want to hide their sexuality, we also have to look within ourselves and say, am I the reason why this person are not coming out or not being honest and open? Because I mean that's exactly a lot of issues happening in St. Kitts because of the discrimination, because of the fight down and these kind of things. And these are just reality things that happen in St. Kitts and Nevis. And
Of course.
I have
Anywhere else in a small community.
anyways, yeah, definitely, right? So I mean, even sometimes, there are community members who are afraid to even apply for a particular job because of the discrimination or stigma that come with it. Because then, even though when we think about gay people, we think about lesbian and those kind of things. What about the transgender person that come out and say, "I'm a transgender"? I mean, are we ready to have those conversations? Are we ready to view them? If a guy comes to you for a job and want to just like a female, how do we view them? So in that self, they have to go back into a shell to hide themselves to just be able to get a job. And these are real life situations that happen in St. Kitts and Nevis still. So which is why some of these people still have to hide. And I mean, not taking away those that actually hide because of whatever reason, but we as society are the reason why people are still in shell as well. And I mean, it's getting better now, but at the end of the day,
Hmm.
whereas we say we advanced for 12 years, there's still a lot of discrimination that happen within Sengis and Nevis. And sometimes these
So how
discrimination
does
that are happening right now, they're
yeah,
happening
go ahead.
within the
Finish your
household.
point. Finish your
So,
point.
fam-
Yes.
so a lot of these discrimination that are happening right now is within our family household. How do we combat that? So I mean, if I am growing up as a young boy and I want to come out to my mother, but I'm hearing my mother have a conversation with maybe she bigger friend where he's saying something that hurtful to an openly gay person. How do I as a young child come out to my mother and say, "Mommy, this is me"? So now you put me as a child in a shell to live a lie because if I come out, I may lose my mother or this may happen to me. These are things that still happen within Sankis and Nevis.
So how does things like these play a role when it comes to making policies, election is in the air and stuff like that. So, and plus, that's why I asked any percentage of how large is the community when it comes to voting and all this and stuff like this, and what should be put on policies that should be put when it comes to campaigning and, all, and stuff like this. Because within all these parties, within St. Kitts Nevis, they have a large numbers of supporters of your community that supports them and stuff like that. You see, so it's very interesting when policies are not being speak on these things and the communities around them. So how is that? And what do you got to say about that? Is it, does you have anything that you're expecting to put when it comes to all these people different parties and independents and all this different stuff? Otherwise, your community will boycott the election because your community can have a big say in the election and who win the election. Do you all ever think about stuff like that?
Well, first of all, what I would do organization standpoint, what would we do this coming election coming up, which is why we're here today because you see the post that come out, is that from an organization standpoint, what are we doing this time around for our community? We're educating our community around the election process, what it mean to actually vote and break down issues. So in terms of when all the um, manifesto come out and those kind of things. We're gonna educate the community across the board. There's one thing we can do: tell the community members not to vote or boycott anything. We can educate them around what this mean and what this not mean. But in terms of policies and those kind of things, we have engaged with different stakeholders, policymakers. We have engaged, we have conversation day in and day out with the different government ministries in terms of making sure that LGBT people are included, LGBT people are at the table so you can understand views and make sure that we're there. So these things are happening, and as I mentioned earlier, that we have been able to be in different spaces. Like for example, last year November, I got the opportunity to go to Geneva to speak at the UPR, which is the Universal Pediatric Review that Saint Kitts came up. So I had an opportunity to speak on behalf of the civil society organization in Saint Kitts and Nevis in terms of saying this is what is happening in Saint Kitts, this is what we would want to see from the government in Saint Kitts and Nevis. But again, policies are something that take time to grow and just begin to have conversation and those kind of things. So that's definitely what we're gonna be doing, mobilizing a lot within our community and educate for this election coming up. As you mentioned, there are LGBT people on each side of these parties. We support different parties. We support different views. We're not gonna be able to come as one group and say, hey, this is who we are supporting because of whatever reason. But everybody has their own choice to who they want to support, provide as much information and education so community will understand. Because of course there are a lot of us who support parties, but we don't actually understand what these parties ministers are actually saying to us. And we just go by family trait coming up and so this year we're gonna do education around what these policies mean, what these statements are being said. We're gonna provide support to community members who want to actually go to these meetings to actually listen and gain knowledge for yourself as well. Um, yeah, that's what we'll be doing coming up for this election.
Question. Well,
Yahsonn?
as you mentioned, are you guys at this point considering having persons running for this upcoming election, like persons from your community putting up themselves, whether as independent candidates or, well, I was more thinking on the independent side of it.
Well, technically, I won't know if there's somebody from the community that are willing to do that. But if somebody from the community are willing to do that, we'll be happy to support them and educate them. But just being a part of the community doesn't make you the proper policy person to put in government either. There's one thing that I have learned over my 12 years of advocacy. Sometimes the people that are part of your community is the hardest person to actually change policy. Doesn't matter who is running. We just want to make sure that there's a representation across the board. So if a community member wants to run, that's on them. From an organization standpoint, we don't have that mandate to say, hey, you go and run or you go and run. But if there's somebody from the community who is openly gay and want to run, they will definitely have the organization support in terms of what is needed.
Okay. As we continue, I have some more questions as well, but we do have our listeners, whether it's via phone or on the wall, and there are some questions coming up on the wall that I would want to interject one or two because some of them I thought of myself as well. Like this one that I'm hearing from Mighty Servant, he says, why is it so important for one to be always announcing their sexuality? Should a straight man go around and fight for the rights to be a straight man and keep announcing it? Your response to that?
But I actually love that question because that is why we come around and say, and that is why I go back to the statement when I say we are humans. My sexuality should not determine what I do and what I don't do. So that is one of the reasons why education is important because they tend to put us in this special category and we should not be in a special category. Um, if I come and say I'm tiny, I'm just tiny. I don't need to tell you what my sexuality, and you don't need to judge me in terms of what my sexuality. For example, and even if I come out and I say, hey, I'm a gay man, accept me for who I am. You should not question my sexuality because that's who I am as a person. That doesn't that doesn't affect you being the person that you are. And I think it's something that should happen. I believe in that. statement. You shouldn't have to say this is me or this is not me. You should be able to live and be yourself. But because of how society, how we grow up, unfortunately, that's not the case. But that is where we would like to go. You know, you can just come out and say, "Hi, I'm Tynetta McKoy." You don't have to explain yourself. Look at me as a person. Every day I have to explain myself. I have to explain why my voice is deep, my voice is this. So sometimes when I go to go for services, you know, and I might say, "Hey, I'm a female. I'm being questioned. I'm being crucified. Oh, I'm not in this mood today. I ain't in the light and this, but I'm telling you, this is me. So where you questioning me and asking me, telling me that I'm supposed to be somebody else that I'm not? And I get, even for me personally, I get that every day. I literally every day. I literally
Okay,
can't
so
walk into a female bathroom. No.
you can do what?
So me as a person, I can't walk into a female bathroom right now without being crucified or stopped by security or something. And that shouldn't happen.
You're female.
See, that's the perfect
That's what.
example I'm
That's what.
trying to get.
But I
That's what
don't.
I'm
I
trying to
don't know
say.
you're female because I'm not judging. I'm not judging
But
you. You see what I mean? That's the difference.
I
You
agree.
understand?
I agree.
Yes. So
I
you
agree.
can't wrong me.
So,
You
so
should. So I'm.
no,
But
no,
you're
no,
saying
no.
that.
I'm not wronging you. I'm not
Yes.
wronging you.
Yes. Of
I'm wronging you.
course.
This
Okay,
is just an
You don't
so
look. You don't look like a
education.
female. You don't look like a female. You don't look like a
Yeah, but
female.
see,
You speak like a male. So I have to go by the almost the phenotype and what I'm seeing outside and how you speak, and that is how the human mind process things. So unless you're telling me you're female, I would not say you're female. Just how the brain function. I have no reason to judge you
so
to say if you're male, and
so
that's just how it is. So,
okay,
well,
Bankie.
I appreciate you putting that out there because if you did
no
not say
problem, no
this, the show
problem.
would have ended, and then I would have figured, well, I'm just talking to tell he's male, but you put it out there no, so no. You understand? Which is
Well,
cool.
you
I
see,
appreciate that.
that is why initially when I tried to introduce him, I paused because sorry, you said him. I paused
That's fine.
because I didn't want to. This community is so interesting that you can't just put a gender. So you just have to. That's why I was gonna say, but I just said, okay, this is Tiny McCoy, and will say whatever. I didn't even go and say well, he, she. I just left it like that because. But then here is it now,
Well,
Tiny.
that's how it should be.
You brought an interesting scenario to the fore, and I guess this is one of the interesting issues and I guess problems that people would have, and I think I personally would have some difficulty with because you you are telling me that you identify with being a female. So you consider yourself a female. And you're saying just a while ago that you would have problems entering a female bathroom. Now, I, as a parent with my daughter, my young daughter, would I want to know? So, this is what I'm saying.
All right, well,
You
let me
see,
start
what,
here.
no. You see,
So
Yasan,
you,
Wait, wait,
what
wait,
you
wait,
will
so you,
see,
wait, wait, wait,
Yasan, what you will see
hold on,
is
hold
a
on, hold on.
male going into a female
wait, wait, wait,
bathroom.
wait,
That is
wait.
what you will see.
That is what
You
I
see what I
would
mean?
see. That's what I'm saying. So that
Of
is
course.
why I am asking him now. Sorry, I'm asking Tiny now to explain that.
All right, first of all,
Are you
let me
going
explain it a
based
bit.
on an assumption? You are
Yeah, you
Huh?
going
go
based
based
on
on an
assumption
assumption.
that,
Uh-huh.
All right,
huh?
no, but first of all,
You're going based
this
on
is
the
what I'm gonna
assumption
say to
that
you.
it
You know,
is
hold on. Yes.
male.
Yeah.
Wait,
So I don't want to assume. That is why I'm asking. Mm-hmm.
so I don't
Because
want you to
it's not
wait,
normal. Because
this.
remember, it's not normal to see someone just like a male goes into a female bathroom. So really, you base an assumption because
So,
is the norm, is the community
so
in
this is what
anywhere
I'm
you
gonna
go.
say.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead.
This is what I want to say. First of all,
Yes.
born female,
Okay.
born female. Are the first disclaimer, right? So at the end of the day, that is my gender. I never came out
Yeah.
and said that I'm a guy or anything like that. I dress in a boy, a shirt and a pants, right? But if which I understand, the input make you feel like I'm a guy. So if I'm entering the bathroom and you meet me and you was like, hey, this is the ladies' bathroom. And I say, I'm aware of that because I'm a female.
Yes,
Why do
of
you
course.
think this situation where I just tell you I'm a female, but you determine that I'm not a female, and it's a big thing just to go into the female bathroom. It's the same way if I go into the male bathroom and somebody know me as a female, then they will be like, Tiny, you're in the wrong bathroom. How do you
Of
combat that?
course.
At the end of the day, what I think that we always have to remember is that a female putting on a shirt and a pants doesn't mean that female is gay or anything like that. And I mean, nothing is wrong with asking questions. So the point go back to you where you indicate why people have to always say what their sexuality is because of how our human mind is. So to prevent that, you take the opportunity to ask the question rather than assuming, right? Because as you can see, when I'm going into the
So,
bathroom that I know I'm supposed to do, I never tell anybody that I change my sexuality or anything like that. I'm just comfortable wearing male output, and I'm also just comfortable dating my same sex. The same way you might have a guy who is a female who is, this is just how they look. I don't control how I look. I never take any medication or anything like that. It's just how I was born. So how would you judge me as a person if this is how I'm born? I didn't born myself as a human. Understand? So how do we deal with that situation? These are situations that happen here in St. Kitts and Nevis, in different Caribbean countries, but more so I only can speak in St. Kitts and Nevis because this is where I live. And these are situations that I face day in, day out.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you. I'm
I
laughing at the
know
comment
because
that I
I see a comment just now.
so
I see a comment
so
just
that's
now.
that's
Because
that's that's why I laugh. And just for the clarity for those that the comment on the screen says if you're born with a dick, you're not a chick.
not a chick.
And
Understand?
okay, so but you said earlier though that you're born female, right? That's what you said, right? And you
Yeah.
have not changed sex. So okay. So the but you're saying that we should just accept if so. This is where I guess the difficulty comes in because let's say, okay, no, you identify as um, let's say you identify now as a female, right?
Mhm.
And
I do identify as
next
a female.
wait, and next month you choose to identify as a male. So as a society, we should just accept that last month you were using the female's bathroom. And next month now, because you have that change and you have that right to, that you now use the, or should be considering then maybe a third alternative then, and you have a unisex restroom so that then there's no confusion. How about that?
Um. Well, first of all, again, if someone said they're trans and they're transitioning, and that's a different story, right? But going back to my case, I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? First of all, I indicated that I was a born female. I identify as a female, but this is how I dress, first of all, right? But as I said, because of the discrimination and backlash that I get, there are times that I just say, hey, let me just take a chance and use the male bathroom, right? It's not the bathroom that I want to use, right? But that generally happens, right? It's not even just using a bathroom. There are times when I go for medical checkup and I might say female on the paper, and you will have they're telling me what bullshit I write on the paper and those kind of things. Again, they're assuming. And this is where education is important because at the end of the day, one of the things you have to remember when it comes to a human body, we don't control that. And at the end of the day, I think all of us know about human hormones and those kind of things. I don't know. Maybe I have more male hormones in my body where this is my output because I never do anything about myself. Yes, there are people that actually transition and change because of how they feel and those kind of things, and that's because of their hormones, their body knowledge, and those kind of things. I have no interest in transforming, but for the rest of my life, I have to be facing this kind of discrimination and backlash because of how society view me rather than society trying to understand me. Like for example, look at the comment. I just indicate I was a female born female. And you see, society view that, you know, if a man has a dick, they can't be a chick. I never born with a dick, and I don't want a dick. So that would never happen. And I have no interest in changing my identity. But there are people that actually do that. But I personally have no interest in changing my identity, but I don't see the need that I should be facing that type of discrimination just to go to a bathroom in my day-to-day life. Because what risk that I put to a female in the bathroom, right? I don't want to put a risk in the female to the bathroom because I'm a female as well.
All right, so I remember when I traveled to Trinidad, there are unisex bathrooms, so there is no specific identity, male or female. It's where both male and female can access that bathroom. That can help us with getting rid of saying males are here, females are here. Have a unisex bathroom, everybody access the same bathroom. May not be at the same time, but you have access to the bathroom the same way. So that changes a lot. Not hearing anyone.
Can you guys hear me?
No. Yeah, I wasn't hearing
Can't
anyone
hear.
before.
Can't hear me.
I'm hearing you
Yeah,
now.
no.
You hearing me now? Sorry about that. Still hearing me? Are you still hearing me? Okay, good. I have a call coming in. Call, good evening. Welcome to the topic.
Good evening, Brother Bankie. Good evening, Brother Yahsonn.
Yes, good evening.
I chime into the program late, but I really, as I try to get the scope of this guests and this interview. Now, from what I pertaining to the gentleman, I'm looking at the man.
The young lady identify herself. All right, so please respect the.
No, like I said, I did not chime into the program early. I'm trying to get the scope. But from what I got out, and I stand for correction, are we looking at two guests as ladies, or are we looking at a male and a female as guests?
There are two ladies on the show as guests.
Okay. So, if there are two ladies on the show,
yes,
that means there are two. It's nothing about gay. It's nothing about a man trying to be a woman or a woman trying to be a man. But if I will say, is words being used out of context where, yes, leave are men who could look like women, but they are men. And I believe there are women who can look like men and they are women. It's a matter of what is your identity, right? Yes, I will look at one that I could recognize as a female and be normal with that. The other guest, I could look at that. So that's that, him. I mean, the human. I could look at the human. That's the correction.
Carla, Carla, you're going all over the place. You gotta be comfortable speaking. You can't be all over the place.
I am comfortable speaking. It's the first time, and I'm trying to fall into
That's
the
okay. That's okay.
line
I got you. Yes,
and keep out of the negativity.
of course, I understand.
If that
Carla, Carla.
No, leave him. That's okay. That's okay. Let him go. Let him go.
if that person who looked like a man was born a female, he's a female, so I don't see no problem with that. But if he is a male and try to claim he is gay or he is a female, then that is very contrary, and I cannot get a balance.
Cannot what?
Yes, I cannot get a balance in
What?
put the chick where they should. A balance where you and you try man.
What is wrong with that?
What is wrong with that?
Yes.
It is an abomination if a man try to do woman things.
And if a woman try to man thing, same thing.
Yes, it is an abomination.
Okay.
I'm not going to favor one over the next.
All right.
Okay. If you are born as a woman and you are born as a man, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But it's when you're out of the norm of the way you are established to be. Okay? It's not that I am against people who have contrary male or to a female. So if he's a female, sorry, about the context. If the human is a female, the human is a female. But I would like to know, because I haven't heard anything, he stated that he is or she is. So I will stand for the correction, and I will like to rest my case.
I told you, I answered the question for you earlier in the call, but I appreciate the call, Carla. All right. Thanks for calling. You can always call back.
Okay, Bankie. Sorry about the interruption, and sorry, I think probably you were trying to get my attention, but I had a call come in. There was a difficulty that I had to try to deal with, and so I was talking. I wasn't necessarily talking to the program. So sorry about that. Sorry about my listeners and followers and all that. But
to wait before you go to answer that caller, just to say this is why the organization was created, for that lack of education that we have within society, to build that educational knowledge, because clearly the caller need to be educated some more, because what I'm trying to say here, because I mean, even the statement that he made was very clear in terms of, and I'm going to use this to say, so using me as an example, I was born this way. I have never taken anything to change my life or anything like that, but this is me. So am I abomination because this is who I am? It go back to show this is how I was born. And one of the things that we have to realize in life is that it is a natural cause as well. Of course, there are people that are part of the community that probably become a part of the community because of whatever issue. But we can't forget the fact that this is a natural cause, because I never said I make myself this way. I have not do anything to change my voice. I have not do anything at all. The only thing I do is cut me hair, and the last time I check, a female can cut the hair. That doesn't make you a man of.
Okay.
Right?
Point taken. Point taken. Here's what we this is the topics, and this is one of the reasons why it is called the topics, because we do have a lot of diverse topics on the program. But at this point, we are going to take a break and hear from our sponsors, and then we will be back on the second half. In the second half, we'll be able to accept more phone calls. We'll be able to go to some more of the messages and all that. So stick and stay with us. We'll be back with part 2 of the topics.
At Shabazz Organics, we believe real people deserve real food. So we're bringing you to Mansa's Last Stop, a farm where food barriers are removed and legacy is sustained. We believe there's power in picking, so we allow you to decide what leaves the farm and enters your kitchen organically.
Beat the summer heat. Come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. Come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Mine's the last stop. A whole shopping bag, only $10. Half a shopping bag, you pay $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go to waste. Let's go, people.
When comfort, class, and reliability matter, choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style, clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
Yes, please support Dennis Brown Jr. and on behalf of the Brown family, urgent medical care needed for him to go abroad to get treatment. That's the brother who got into that accident, a terrible accident over in St. Kitts. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Time flies so fast, but yes, anything you can do in terms of donating. They're seeking to get. It seems as if it says $28,000, and so far, folks have donated, and we just want to encourage folks as much as possible. Those of you who are watching, whatever little you can, information is on the screen. So please, it could be you, it could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be, it could be me. So if I'm in that situation, I would want some support too as well. So please, as much as possible, whatever it is, whatever little, please support. Thank you very much. And it's all about Simple Stupid Wednesdays right there at Heritage Cafe. Simple Stupid Wednesdays, go on over and you can get your conch fritters, you can get sawfish balls, you can get pumpkin soup, mango conch chowder, fish burger, chicken burger, and the Heritage Beef Burger Special. So every Wednesdays is all about Simple Stupid Wednesday. Nothing major on the menu, just simple stupid things, as they would say. And we want to encourage you to go on over to Heritage Village. When you go on over there, make sure you do the tour. It's only $10, easy, $4 US. Come on, do the tour, learn a little bit about the history of Nevis and our housing situation, the changes we would have made, and see some of the old things, the goose, the pork, the old bad pan and iron board and all of those things, some things that we used to use. And some of you who might have seen these things can show your children and your grandchildren. So it's something very informative, and it would encourage everybody in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't wait for tourists to, encourage you to go, but go on over and check them out. With that, we're going to be back with part 2 of the topics. See you tomorrow. Answers last stop. Check him out Mondays to Thursdays. Sunset Poetry and Art Night. Yes, starting on the 27th of July. So if you're looking for something to do, man, one of the best places to enjoy the sunset is right there at Mansa's Last Stop. Check them out. Sunset Poetry and Art Night. Come in, relax, express yourself through poetry, bring art, inspire, or even sell. All voices, all artists are welcome at Mansa's Last Stop, hosted by our co-host right here on the Topiks, Shabazz Bankie King. Check him out. Okay, so in loving memory of Ishan, that's the son of Aisha, Smitten, Aisha, I'm sorry, Atherton, who is, Bankie's cousin. Um, this is basically um, some information. He was player um, from January 26, 2002, final match July 4, 2026. He should be um, put to rest on Monday 27th at 11 a.m. Viewing from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Reverend Mark Christmas at the Charleston Methodist Church. Interment will be at the Bath Cemetery. Please go on out and show some love and support. Support the family, the entire family, Jerome Smitten and Aisha, and her people. Full sympathies from us here on Real Entertainment Network and the Topiks. And we are back with part 2 of the Topiks. And what we're going to do, we're going to get straight into the comments, because we do have a lot of comments. And, folks, before we do that, though, I want to say, I want to encourage all of you who are locked down this evening to, subscribe to our YouTube platform, subscribe to Facebook if you're on Facebook. And even if you're on Facebook, go on over to the YouTube, because we want to build, the algorithms over there. The more subscribers we get, the better it is. Like, share, and click on the notification bell. We want to encourage you to do that. And we want to encourage you to, in a few minutes, if you have a call, when you call in, please turn off your radio, your device, whatever it is that you're listening to. We're going to get a feedback. I think most of you, who are accustomed to being on radio and so on should know that, but we still remind you. If you're going to call in, please do that. On the Facebook side, we have Shazel Avant says, "Oh boy, men don't ever experience menstrual period." Olivia David says, "Good evening." Burlby Jones says, "This is not normal. The Rastaman them should not be promoting this." Burlby Jones says, "Where's the Rastaman them values? Not my show." Larrett Wharton says, "Good evening to all from Birmingham, UK." Says, "Hi, Chev. Hope all is well with you." Chev says, "Hi, Larrett. All is well. Hope you're doing well over there." Okay, so that's some internal comments going on. All right, then over on the YouTube side, Trevor Benjamin says, "I'm already standing by. Thank you. Big up, Trevor." Oliver Leibert says, "Hi, Kings. I am, Kings and Queens. I'm here tonight, all." Trevor Benjamin says, "I hope electricity goes out. I am out by." Okay, who funds the organization? So that's a question. I hope you could maybe, I don't know if you want to document that question, Tiny. And then maybe when I get to the end, you could respond to some of them. If one of you want to document them, they're asking, who funds the organization? Who are their donors? Mighty Servant says, question, has there ever been any member of the gay community arrested in St. Kitts and Nevis for buggery? Okay, but that probably might have been a pass question for the past, but I think, as we mentioned earlier, Mighty Servant, the buggery law has been repealed or changed, and so I guess that is not necessarily possible now. But if you're talking about in the past, I guess maybe one of them can respond to that. in question to the drive for education, is there a possibility that recruitment has been taking place? And that kind of coincide with the next question here. How would we differentiate education and indoctrination? Question, is the organization endorsing any candidates in the upcoming election? I think we spoke to that already. I don't know if you want to clarify that as well too. Petro Jamat says, greetings, madness. Mighty Servant says, I'm putting it to Tiny that the discrimination they're facing is their approach to society. The aggressive steps in seeking to seduce those they may be interested in or are not interested in. I guess he didn't finish. Okay. Anyway, let's continue down the line. Don't assume in society now critical thinking is forbidden. Susie says, use the bathroom that you identify with. Pedro Jamat says, John Money theory now exposed. Mighty Servant says, question, if Tiny's sexual attraction is towards same sex, why does Tiny feel she has to replicate and intimate the role of a male? Petro Jamat says, gender is a social construct and sex is a biology. Petro Jamat says, there can be over 100 genders. Lynetta Daniel says, one sexual orientation is nobody's business. This is a very complex issue. There are individuals who are born with both male and female organs. So how do you classify these individuals? So Mighty Servant says, social engineering, the power of the mind and the power to liberate it. If the mind is told for centuries he's a cat, and he can end up looking like a cat. Those seeking to control the mind know this. Joy King says, good evening, everyone. And Bulby is now asking, there's no gorilla anymore. So you see, guys, and I guess this is what people, let me, before we go back to responding, some people comment about Rastafari, and yeah, you see, like this program at the same time is all about sharing information and bringing the topics to the table. It is a topic. It is not for me here to try to impose my personal beliefs or whatever it is. I can share my thoughts and my views on certain things, but right now this is more for me an informational issue. And before
Just
I
a
seek
reason,
to,
Virgin.
I ask questions, right? And that's what we're doing here, because I'm sure a lot of you are learning a lot of things from the discourse, and that's what we hope. There are things that, collect. Okay, so let me not get into all of that. So let's get into
Can you hear me,
how you
Yahsonn?
guys. Huh? Yeah, hearing, it's not as hard as
Okay, just
I
making
was
sure.
before, but go ahead, yes.
No,
You were
go
saying?
ahead. Well,
Yeah.
no, I was
You
just
asking
making
if I
sure you can
finished?
hear me.
Oh, yeah. So, in regards to that, yes, and Bulby Jones, yes, the Buggerilla is not anymore, and that's what we were saying. Some years ago, I think it was under this new Jew-led government as well. No? Was before? Was under Timothy government?
No, so basically it
On the
started
unity.
under the form, yeah. But the
But
the
it was
the um
concluded
the
under, it
decision
was
the decision
concluded
came in
under this
August
government.
2022.
Yes, because I could remember, I think the Attorney General, yes.
Yahsonn, let me
So,
take this call.
yes.
Caller, good evening.
Yes, thank you. Let me get in what I'm going to say. And I believe sometimes situations can be blown out of proportion. And I will reiterate this. If she is born as a woman, a she, and she carries the organs of a she, then she is a she. But she could look like a male. It's a versa. I don't see where there's a problem. But if she is born as a she and tries to be as a man, then we say is a tomboy. Okay? Women who try to be out of their norm, do men things, we call them tomboy. Okay? But if she is a she is a she. And if he is a he is a he. If I try to be with the anti-man faggot, this person is a she, regardless of his image. Everybody have to be accepted in that concept.
What is your point, Carla?
And what is my point?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. What's your point?
She faces discrimination because she looks like a man. Okay?
So who to blame for that?
Huh?
Who is to be blamed for that?
Those who are speculating and defending without the knowledge.
Okay.
The education. I'm going to defend them in a way, because in my mind, it proclaimed that he is a she. But she acts like a tomboy. Like a woman. So I don't have a problem with that.
I got your point, Carla.
Stepping out of their domain, of the space, and being what they are not from the origination. Okay? And she is not a person by a she because she had a surgery to change the sexual organs. So, my friend, I call women friend, I call man friend. If you are a she, hold your head up high because you might be portrayed looking like a man. Okay? So, you don't have to feel any discrimination. Stand up for who you are. Okay? And who you have to prove to. You go into a bathroom, you go into a bathroom. Yes, you're going to look like a man coming in a female bathroom. There are unisex bathrooms. I go into female bathroom. Okay? So, and female came into male bathroom. So it is free, my friend. I'm going to free you. No one should discriminate against you because you look like a man.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Very, very interesting. You see how difficult it is for people to properly, so they don't even know how to speak, and that is our real issue in our society when you just can't speak properly, and that's just the real problem right
Well,
there.
you know, Bankie, in all reality, some of the challenges that we face with this stems from the fact that we are a quote unquote Christian-based society, and most and all of us have been brought up in that Christian-based thinking, and so you find a lot of these things, which in the past, from a Christian standpoint, were not necessarily accepted, and so now, in order to have some of these things being accepted by people who would be set in their ways, because there's no way that you will get some people to accept that, especially if they believe in a Bible that tells them about Sodom and Gomorrah and
So the question
these
is,
things. Yes.
So the question is to Tiny. Define the word gender.
Define the word gender.
Yes, because that seems to be an issue within the community. Because when you go to Florida Farm, they have a gender, male, female. You see what I mean? Because this is what you have to be dealing with within the community. And as I say, when you put on the judgment, oh, you're not no female or whatever they're telling you. So address these
what I would
things.
tell you, what I like to tell people is your gender identity and your sexual orientation is two different, right? So my gender has nothing to do with my sexual orientation because I indicated that I'm a female. That's my gender. That's what I was born with. Understand? But bear in mind, as one of the caller indicated, that there are people that are born with both male and female organs. We call them intersex. That's what we call. I think back then a lot of people know them as hermaphrodite. Right?
Yeah, but that terminology there is really oversized case. It's not that they have both male gender, male and female gender. Clinically, it's not like I born have a penis and have a vagina. They are female.
There's some of them born like
female
that.
hook.
No.
Yes.
No. There's some of them that actually born with both. There are people that actually born with both agenda. Right? We call them back then days you call them hermaphrodites, but now we use them like intersex. But you can be an intersex by born with one gender, but your other body develop. Maybe your top body may develop as a female, but your bottom is a male. Those are intersex, right? So there are people that generally born like that. We have those people living in Shankies and Nevis as well. But if I don't come out and say, if somebody ain't come out and say I'm an intersex, you would never know, right? And you wouldn't have these
Intersex.
conversations. Yeah, intersex is somebody that have both. So they basically have a penis and a vagina living with, right?
And they look
There are
and they
people
can be
in this,
they can look male or female.
yeah, they can look like a male or a female. And you wouldn't know what I have
Well,
on the leg.
well, I got to admit, I don't know a lot of things, but I got to admit, that's why I made the comment where I know over the past you'll hear these things where but from my knowledge scientifically, I did not know that people who are born that way. They seem like you're making this seem common. And this, what I know by my stuff like that is an oversized clitoris, but telling me this is something that is common. I did not know this
Well,
exists. Yahsonn, you know these things
I
exist?
wouldn't say
Yahsonn?
I wouldn't say it's common, but there are situations where that has happened. So that, I guess they're pointing out that there are people who are born with both organs, and I guess back then we would call them hermaphrodites. I mean, as he was saying,
Yeah,
they
but
call them
that's what I'm
intersex.
saying. The hermaphrodite that I know and hear doctors speak about is an oversized clitoris. That's what make it. And then sometimes the parent would raise the child as a male. That is, or raise the child as a female. That is what I know scientific research, and that's what I'm drawing the same term. But no, he's saying this is something that exists. I never know the part there. What I knew
Well,
is what I just explained.
yeah, it exists, and as he said, also there are some who they may develop breasts or whatever, but then they may have a male organ. These are different. But
Yes.
no, for
But
me,
he was explaining gender. I'm not sure if you finished explaining the word
yes,
gender.
yeah,
But,
let him go
but
ahead. Yes.
yeah. So what I was saying in terms of gender, I mean, we have this norm of gender is male and female, right? Your gender, you so you have a gender, you all have a sexual orientation. I think too many times the way people can mix up with that because they mix up gender and your sexual orientation, right? Um, so I was born a female. My gender is female. That's my gender, right? But my sexual orientation or my sexual output is totally different. The way how I express myself is different. That doesn't change the fact that I was a born female, but I express myself as this is me. I don't identify as a lesbian. I don't identify as anything down that way. I actually identify as a queer woman because all I know, right? That's how I
explain
identify.
that. A queer, a lesbian. I explain. I don't know the difference. Explain that.
So what I said is that I don't identify as a lesbian. A lesbian is somebody
Yes.
who obviously date female, but I personally don't identify as a lesbian. I don't carry those labels. I'm a queer woman. All I know, I'm a woman and I'm
What?
living my life. I love who I love, right?
I don't.
But
I don't understand that.
What that mean? Me and understand that. Sorry, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what
Yeah.
exactly that
Yeah.
means because you're
No.
saying
Let it. Let Tiny answer. Go ahead, Tiny.
mm,
what I'm saying is that I don't carry a label. So even when the guys say on the call that, people that just like a boy and act like a little boy
Mm-hmm.
and born female are tomboys. If somebody want to carry that
Yeah.
identity as a tomboy, I don't carry that identity because
So
I never
that's
tell you that I'm a
queer.
tomboy either.
So queer mean you don't hold no sides. Then that's what queer mean.
Yeah,
That's
because you have
okay.
queer
So
heterosexual people.
we're
huh.
we're teeny. Something I would like, I guess, a little bit more clarity on. You said that lesbian and so on is a label. You don't identify with the label, okay? But when we hear about lesbians, I guess the interpretation or the mind thought that we know is a female being sexually involved with another female. How does that differ from being queer? Does the queer person still be intimate only with females, or the queer person now is a person that can be with both sex? We can be. So I'm just trying to I mean, you say it's not a label, or it's just you're saying that, well, you don't use a label, but you still function the same way, or it is totally different definition.
All right. So a queer is just saying I don't carry labels. You can have a queer woman that only date female. You can have a queer woman that only date male. Literally. But what I'm just trying to
Okay,
say is that I don't carry
hold on,
labels.
hold on,
I don't get caught
so
up.
hold on. Okay, so hold on. The queer woman can, as you say, just be with a man, or it can be with a woman. The lesbian can be with a man too, and with a woman, or lesbian is just deemed as female and female. That, I guess that, I'm just trying to get the clarity. That's all.
That's okay. If you're attracted to both and you're going to be, you're called a bisexual. A lesbian is
Mhm.
somebody that attracted to female and female only. A
That's so
bisexual person,
another woman who's attracted to another woman. That's lesbian.
yes, yes.
Okay. So that is why I'm trying to
Bisexual,
right. So then queer now it sounds to me like a different category now altogether. Because you're saying the queer now can be female, and a queer now can be, well, a female with a male as well too. So I guess I was just trying to get that clarity. So I think you
And while we
basically
have that, let me make the difference between a transgender and a transvestite. Is that, I'm calling the right name?
the what?
Transvestite, difference between transvestite, well, we're going with the queer and the lesbian. What is the difference between a queer, not a queer, a transvestite and transgender? How is that? What is the difference?
I don't understand your question you're asking. You're asking what's the difference between a transgender and
Yes,
a
a
transvestite,
versus
I think
what?
they
transvestite is well, I'm just trying to understand the difference in definition, how they live, just like how you explain.
Are you talking about a transgender and a transsexual person?
Yes, but
I'm
don't they
not
say
getting the
transvestite? But don't they, well,
no,
some
I never
there's
heard
this
that.
trans. Is that
I know of transsexual and I know of transgender.
yes.
I don't
Okay,
know of
yes. Well,
trans.
if I got you, but it's a term that,
Mhm.
so explain the one that you know.
All right. So what I can explain is I can break down all categories right now in a short form. So
Yes,
one,
yes.
a lesbian. A lesbian is a female who are attracted to female. A gay is a man who is attracted. Bisexual is somebody who attracted to both gender. Right. A transgender is somebody who basically transition the output into a female. Not necessarily saying that they want to be they're attracted to a male, they're attracted to a female or anything like that. A transgender is more of an identity. That's how they feel. That's what their output is. That doesn't have anything to do with who they're attracted to and those kind of things. Because you see somebody who considers herself a trans woman, but they're actually dating a guy, which mean that they're still dating their same partner, not necessarily. If you understand what um, they're just different norms. So again, there's sexual orientation versus what a gender could be. Right? So your sexual orientation has nothing to do with your gender. And again, the way how you identify yourself, that is how you feel. Nobody can identify you. You only identify yourself, which is where you have a lot of you may have guys who will tell you I'm a straight man, but they're having sexual stuff with another guy. That doesn't make them gay if they say they're not gay. You understand? Because that's their sexual preference. That's not their identity. And that's where we come across those kind of things. So somebody might identify as a whatever they want to identify. Your identity is how you feel and what's within you, not necessarily your sexual. Is where you have
So
a lot
so
of
so does bisexual fit carry, so the men who, I just say bisexual, that felt lies within the LGBT, within the community, That is
What's
out
up?
to the community.
Which
The
one that?
bisexual men, the bisexual.
Bisexual fall within the community as well. As I said, it's LGBTQT, right, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, and intersex,
Okay,
and
so
whatever else.
I don't know. Okay, so what make a person gay? Fit in the community. That's what I'm trying to understand. Cause there might be some straight men who just female, but then they love anal or whatever. So that make them gay. How does that work? Do they
That
fit in
doesn't
the
make you gay
community?
because that doesn't make you gay
Okay,
because if you're a straight man and you like anal, female have anal. Um, Anal doesn't make you having anal sex doesn't make you a gay person. Understand? That is your
interesting.
sex because a lot of men actually have anal sex with
I
female.
never hear that
That
one day. I never hear this
that
one.
doesn't
Yeah, I
make
never hear
them
that
gay.
one day. So I never hear
That
that.
literally
I
doesn't
never hear
make
that
them
one
gay.
day.
What you do
Okay.
sexually is what you do as a person. That has nothing to do with your identity. That doesn't make you gay. That's a norm that happen a lot. Once you go anal, you
So
feel everybody feels gay, and that's that. That doesn't make you gay. It's a sexual preference.
so gay is what?
Gay is a
How do you
man who is
find gay?
attracted to a man. A gay is a man who is attracted to a man.
So female is not considered gay. Female is considered a lesbian.
A
So
lesbian is
the gay is just the word gay in the community is just used widely. Then
yeah. That's society. Society uses the word gay widely.
okay, yes, son.
Can I say
Um,
something?
how many active members or regular participants do you all have at present? And how is membership defined?
Repeat that question.
How many active members you all have at this point, and how is membership defined? Or like you
Well, I think
define who is
I
a member?
answered. Well, I think I
Is
answered that a bit earlier already. Whereas I said, like
Hmm.
for example, whenever we have performance sessions and those kind of things, we get roughly between 20 to 30 people at like a session, right? But again, members go very well because there are people who come to the session for education, they're not part of the community, but they are considered an ally of the community. So the membership is by large, which people who are interested in learning about the LGBT community necessarily are part of the LGBT community. So as I mentioned earlier, based on numbers that we have, like when we have empowerment sessions, we get roughly between 20, 25, 20 to 30 people that come session. When we have an
what
activity, we get more.
if you have the top three things you'd like to change within the community to be put in place legislated? What will that be?
Repeat that again.
If you have the three top things that you'll put first, if you get a chance, that you would like to change or be legislated, what would that be?
You break up just sorry about that.
No, I'm asking stuff that affect the community that you'd like to see change. The top three things you'd like to see change within the community, whether through legislation or rights or whatever. What will those things, three things be?
One, again, it's around for me again, it's always gonna be around improve education, health, employment, and inclusion. That's all. Because there's nothing special. Inclusion across the board.
Inclusion in what?
Inclusion in everything in life.
L- l- I don't understand. Like, what don't
Yeah, like
what
basically,
the community is not
okay, like
included in right
all
now.
right, all right. So let's break it down. Because remember earlier I
Yes,
mentioned that some of the challenges that we have is basically around discrimination, still stigma, healthcare access, mental health, employment barriers, and stronger legal protection across the board. Right. So what we will ask for. So let's say we had an opportunity to have conversation with the government and say this is what we want from a community. We're asking for
yes.
continued dialogue. We're asking for
Mhm.
continued dialogue. We're asking for partnership, and we're asking for policies that ensure citizens can access healthcare, education, employment, and justice fairly. That's all we're asking for from a community.
That's what I
Okay,
wanted to hear. That's what I wanted. That's why I asked the question. All right, cool.
Yeah.
We have a
okay, Miss Kane.
we have a caller here coming in. Let me take this call. This caller,
Okay, go
good
ahead.
evening. Hello, hello, caller. Hello, caller, you're live. Yes, you're live.
Yes. There are lots of questions. It was interesting topic. This doesn't make anyone gay or lesbian to listen to the show. Notice that no one is calling in on this topic because probably I'm not interested in this topic. But it is brave for this lady to come out and speak and give excitement because she has encountered discrimination for impersonation. The people impersonate she to me. But I really that lady to keep his head up and don't feel any way of discrimination.
Her head up, caller. Her head up, and the lady name is Tiny.
Okay, Tiny.
Yes.
My cousin named Tiny.
Yes.
But the other thing is, let me ask him a direct question. Are you facing mental imbalance because of how people look at to be in a negative way? That's the question.
To answer your
All right.
to answer your question, I will tell you no. Because guess what? I'm an advocate. I have been empowered, and I'm the one empowering people. So I'm empowered in that stage that nothing that people say right now affect me mentally. I take the opportunity to educate people when they make those mistakes.
All right. Do you hear, caller?
This topic is about you because you came forward to let the world know you are a she or a lady. They should not discriminate against you because of how you look. If they perceive you to be something that you are not, and they are being told who you are, and they continue, that's a discrimination. Okay? From any jobs, any society, and there is to discrimination. So my lady, you are a lady, and that's all I need to know. You are not a man.
Thank you, caller.
So keep your head up high and not in a downward spiral. Feel and lift up yourself. Okay? And I commend you for coming forward.
No, caller, I want you to understand the Tiny is here as an advocate for the LGBT group. The Tiny is the advocate on behalf of Mr. Advocating that having issues. He had just made a reference in something like that. So I don't want you to mislead how this show is. Okay? I want to clarify that to you so you understand. He's the founder of SKN Alliance. All right?
But I'm going to tell you, last but not least, I have a problem when a man tries to be a woman, and I have a problem when a woman tries to be a man.
All right, caller.
Okay, and
All right.
we have heard that, and you're entitled to your view and your opinion, caller. But I think you came in a bit late, and I think you are misinterpreting the show. The show is not about Tiny. The show is about the Syndicate Alliance group or organization. Tynetta McKoy happens to be the executive director of the organization, and we also have Mary Keynes, who is here with us, who work along with the organization in the capacity as a health professional and someone in the, I think it's the gender affairs or that social services aspect of our community. So the show is not necessarily about Tiny, but Tiny, as a member of the organization, is using herself as an example and using her scenarios as examples to get across certain points in an effort to educate all of us, because all of us are being educated about an organization that has been around for over 11 years. The organization is a part of our society. The organization is supported by agencies of the government, and we are learning about all that. And speaking about that, we have had Mary being very quiet for some time, and I'm going to try to interject Mary here in regards to part of what she mentioned, because she spoke about her involvement with HIV and educating the society and the community and so on. And from some of the researches that I've heard about HIV, it is said that it is transferred via most times anal intercourses. Am I correct with that or not correct with that? If so, you could correct me. And so maybe that is part of why you're so involved with that aspect.
Can you
You're free
repeat?
to
Can you repeat?
in terms of the in relation to HIV. From what I understand with AIDS, one of the more prominent ways of it being transferred is via anal intercourse. Is that part of why you are so much involved with this aspect of the educational part of it?
No. Okay, so I got involved with the organization as part of a women's group. We're as part of a vulnerable community. We have the women's group disability, LGBT community, and that's where my work started with the community. I wanted to learn more and get more involved in terms of the vulnerable groups, and I was able
Mhm.
to do that because of my experience with dealing with HIV as a tester and counselor for HIV. So that's where I started actually getting involved. And throughout the years, I just continued being more of an advocate for the vulnerable groups and providing them with support in terms of healthcare, linking to healthcare services, having educational sessions, not just around HIV alone, but other sexually transmitted infections and other diseases that we are faced with, and do other community works in order to help to motivate, empower the community members. So it's not just solely on HIV, but other aspects of health. We
So,
had some pop-up clinics where we offer healthcare services in terms of blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks, HIV screenings to members of the community where they come to the office and have those screenings done and referrals are done for them. Being
so
the as
at
a
this point,
community liaison,
at this point, you still function as a community nurse.
I'm just volunteering. It's just voluntary work. I am
No,
a
but I mean,
community
in terms of
liaison officer. Repeat.
you got a caller, Banky?
Yes.
Banky, you have a caller? Okay, so
Yes, yes,
hold on,
yes.
mate. We'll take the call and then we will come. I'll come back to you.
Caller, can you go ahead?
Yeah, okay. Good evening to you guys and the guests. Yeah,
Good.
yes, man. You kind of beat me to the punch a little bit there, but the lady, is the last name Keynes?
Yes,
Yeah, the one that was
yes,
talking.
yes.
Her last name is Keynes, right? Okay, so that, I was about to come on and ask because she was so quiet, right? I was gonna ask if she can talk to like the biological makeup of a male and a female, and really tell us if because God make us a man and a woman. If she can talk to the biological makeup and really tell a man can be changed to a woman and a woman can be changed to a man in terms of the internal organs, right? We know that we have a penis and a vagina, on the outside. But when we're talking about God's word, the makeup of a male or man and a woman, can that be actually changed in a surgery at all?
What do you think? What do you think, Carla?
I mean,
Yeah, what do you think?
for what I think,
Yeah.
man, well, whatever God make you, that's what you are.
No. Ask you, what do you think? You just ask a Christian. What do you think? You're asking a Christian. Yes.
But that question is going to that Miss Keynes.
No, you don't have to go to me. I can answer the question. You answer the question. We all grown. What do you think?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
Bangie,
Well, that's it.
Whatever God make
All
you,
right.
whatever God, that's what you are.
All right.
And let me get to the gentleman. To the other person, sorry, my bad. To the other person, you said that he's advocating, right? So I just want to ask that person how far she is going to go in the advocacy. Like, are you trying to maybe, we're talking about marketing and stuff like that, and we're seeing these persons like in different countries, they're in like festivals, stuff like that. We have Culturama and we have Carnival. Is that person gonna go to as far as trying to get like a true in these festivals and stuff like that?
It's a normal thing.
And then last question, that person, Tiny, this is gonna be something that I'm just trying out as maybe a light moment or something. Do she believe that there is a gay person in every family? And I'll leave it there.
All right. Thank you, Carla. Appreciate it. Well, there was a question from Miss Keynes.
I guess I can start to answer it. I mean, I won't even allow Miss Keynes to answer the first part of the question because I think that's really a question, information that that caller could go and research as well, and just say yes, you can go and do surgery to change your body parts if you feel like to. That's possible. Um, in terms of if we're gonna put people in troop, so we don't need to create our own troop because we are always partying, we are always there. This we are part of these carnival all the time. There's no need to go and create a get troop. No, that's not our purpose. We just want to be able to be ourselves, and that's what we gonna do. In terms the last question, again. If I do believe that every family have a gay person, yes, I do believe that every family have a gay person. But do I do believe that every family has a gay open person? No, I don't. There are many of them that are hiding within themselves because of how we as family and society think.
So when you say the word, so when you use the word gay, you mean it by for male? I do it with lesbian too. Queers. What when you say the word, how you determine the word gay?
Let's say I
That's
do
how you tell-
feel that no, I do feel that every family has somebody a part of the LGBT community, whether open or closed. Because again, because of how we as family operate and how we as society still think, there's a reason why a lot of them have not come out and said this is me. And I know that somebody need to come out and say, hey, I am gay or I am a lesbian or whatever like that. They just need to live their life. And again, tonight, just being on this show tonight shows me where I started the work that I do and where we're gonna continue the work that I do because we still realize that staying is a Nevis is lack a lot of education when it comes to this field. So I just want to say again.
Yes. I just want to.
I just want to say now that I appreciate this space because we realize now that education again, as much as we have done a lot of work, there's still a long way to go. Because again, we still caught up in our head. I appeal to the public to educate themselves and be able to have these open conversations, respectful conversations. That's the only how we can get better. You know.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Mary.
Hi.
You responded to something earlier, right? In relation to so first up, you said you're still nursing. In terms of AIDS, you say you work along with the AIDS. Is there a high prevalence is there any research comparing HIV amongst that community, LGBT community versus outside? of the community, especially seeing that you would have agreed that the higher prevalence of HIV via anal sex.
I can't say there has been any research. At least locally, I can't say.
Can you speak to
But
any evidence of
question,
members of the community who do have HIV at present?
Can I repeat that?
Speak to anybody, not necessarily calling any names, but do you have any evidence of persons who are part of that community who have HIV?
There are persons within every community within the Federation who are impacted by HIV.
Yes,
So I won't
but we are
say
speaking
about the every
specifically to this
community.
organization because you're who we're interviewing right now. So that is why I'm just asking specifically for this LBGT community. If there are
I mean,
any,
it's
if
a
I can interject
every
here,
organization,
if
yes,
I can
son.
interject here, what I want to
Mhm.
say is that within St. and Nevis, there are people living with HIV across the, not necessarily just a part of the community. It's not something that you single out. We have HIV people living here. We don't single out people by their sexual orientation or anything like that. Because there are people who are married in St. and Nevis with HIV currently. There are HIV people with HIV across the board. It doesn't matter whether you're
Of course.
heterosexual or not. There are HIV across the board. I mean, just recently, early last year, coming close to the year, we heard of on teenage person HIV positive as well. I mean, it is something across the board. This has nothing to do with being a part of the LGBT community or not. It's something that we need to open up and realize that HIV is a serious thing and it's within every one of us. It doesn't matter who you are. It really doesn't matter who you are. It's the onus is on us now to know our status and have conversation with our peers as well. HIV is all around. It doesn't matter who you are. HIV is between the community of a man and a woman having sex right now. HIV is just HIV. It doesn't single out a community member.
But yes, and you asked a question by referencing male and male is what supposed to have a highest percentage. Is that factual, or you just saying it? Where did that come from?
Ask the health professional. That's why I was asking the health professional if there is any evidence to conclude that most
But,
um most
uh,
Well,
but
I don't think you mentioned that male and male. You mentioned anal sex. But one I
No,
think you have to
anal
realize
yes,
is
yeah, just that.
in Sinks and Nevis, yeah, you say anal
okay,
sex.
sorry.
But in Sinks
I
and
spoke
yes.
Nevis,
anal sex, but
you
you specifically
yes.
Bankie asked for male and male. So Mary, maybe you could
Well,
answer both.
well, because that's what. Well, when you said that, I figured that's the way you're going by saying that. Cause that's what
No, but we also
most of
want
the
to go
time
back to the
people.
fact. We don't want to go away from the fact because remember
Wait,
in
but
Sinks and
Tiny,
Nevis, and let's go. No, wait, but I want
I
to
hear
say in
you, right?
Sinks and Nevis, we have to remember that female and male having anal sex. So yes, if you say anal sex is a high rate, that's good. But to single it out to say man and man, that is not a true statement.
Well, that's
So,
what I want to know. That's the whole point. I'm the person who like to ask for evidence. That's why I'm asking the question.
so
I just
that
don't
is why
assume things.
Tiny, that is why we're
When I
asking
ask
Mary.
questions because I want to be informed. I'm not assumption. You understand? So when I ask
So
question, I
Mary,
like to that's
Mary,
why I ask
can you update us?
evidence. Okay,
To
So
give
can you
you a
update us,
figure,
Mary?
but
hey,
but yeah,
I'm here.
what Tiny just said is that you said there's a high rate between anal sex. That's what you're saying between male, female, whatever. Something, that's what you just said.
Male and male.
No, what I'm saying is that within Singles and Nevis,
Yes.
there's a lot of
Uh
female
huh.
having anal sex with male. So it doesn't single
Okay.
out male and male or anything like that. In Singles and Nevis, there's a
Okay.
lot of female that are having anal sex. So
I
it's across the board
I
once
somehow
again.
feel Tiny is being a politician tonight with responding to these questions, right? And I think that we could get some simple responses because, okay, like for example, I don't understand why there's such a challenge because if I asked him if they are members of the organization who are teachers, I'm sure he could give me an answer if they're members of the organization who are teachers, and they're teachers in all different societies as well. The question
It's a
we're being
difference.
interviewed.
No, no, no.
No, I
That is true,
understand
but
that
also too,
you're trying to
no, I'm
separate.
not being technical. You also have to remember that
Mhm.
within things on Nevis, and when you think about HIV, it's the law. Understand? That information that you're asking for is not information that we can give you. I can't give you information to say this amount of people within the community is HIV
I didn't ask
positive
for an
by
amount.
anal sex or anything.
I,
No, I'm
I
just
didn't
saying
ask for
because you're asking
an
that.
amount.
We doesn't we cannot classify because we're saying that HIV is HIV across the board. You cannot justify and classify in terms of that that as political thing. It's just reality.
Okay, all right. In relation to the second question here now, then, in relation to HIV and anal sex, okay, is there evidence to substantiate that HIV there's a higher risk of transference of HIV via anal sex, whether it's by female and male, or male and female? Is that factual evidence, Mary?
Do you want those figures? You can get those data from the World Health Organization also, as to say the
No, we're not
prevalence
talking
of.
figures. We're not talking figures. We're just, is it factual that that is the case?
Yahsonn, I have a call here coming in. We take this last call. Caller, good evening. You're our last caller.
Yeah, the last question put it straight to Tiny. Are there any politicians or leaders or members of the community? I'll leave it there.
All right.
That's a question you'll have to go and ask each politician. Call. Sorry, I can't answer that.
Yahsonn?
So, okay.
Get any other question, any other comment? Get into the
Yeah, so I get in some of the comments. Listening to Tiny, one can tell she has coached herself to speak this way based on what she believes and desire. Just listening to her voice is projected and words were phrased, habit formed, habit maintained. Trevor Benjamin says, God made us male and female. Trevor Benjamin says, no in between. Mighty Servant says, question, the demands being made by the movement are the demands that will empower the sexuality in the sense of sexual preference or the sense of their identity? Question to the nurse, is there a high rate of psychological assistance given to the members of this community? Petra Gemma says the European Union funding them. This sounds like eugenics. Danny Herb says, Hale got in late, gonna have to carry up on the replay. Lynetta Daniel says, yes, it is. Yeah. So, I mean, we would have had a very engaging discussion, and the fact that we have a lot of these questions and so on, that's part of what the topics is all about. You're gonna not find all the time that we talk about politics. You're not gonna find all the time we talk about Rastafari. You're not gonna find all the time we talk about, other things. And this is what is called the topic. So this tonight we had a discussion, having a discussion with the St. Kitts SKN Alliance. We are speaking with the director, Tynetta McKoy, better known as Tiny. And we also have another member of the organization, Mary Keynes, who have been here with us for the past 2 hours, seeking to bring a lot of information about the organization to the table. We were able to pose a number of questions. I still have a number of questions that I didn't ask. People are still asking. We're still able to say he just joined in. And so a lot of other persons would probably have to go back to the repeat and listen to the repeat. And that's why we want to encourage all of you who are logged on to subscribe to the platform, click on the notification bell, share and like whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. If you're on Facebook, go on over to the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, go over to the Facebook and do the same thing. Mary, I was trying to engage you, but I know we're almost at the the end of the show. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you an opportunity to respond to anything that you would have heard in terms of questions, even to mine in relation to the anal sex issue and AIDS, and any other thing that you would want to in your wrap up or your closing, and then we'll give Tiny an opportunity to close up as well.
Okay. What I would like to say though is, as I stated when we started, we talk about the different challenges that persons face within the community. It's when they speak about HIV. And here we're back at the same issue, talking about whether anal sex, if HIV is more prevalent in HIV is more prevalent in the community members, the MSM community members, or those who participate in anal sex. And that's just one thing that community members face. That if you see someone who identify as gay, you naturally assume he's having anal sex and he might have HIV. And that's a very strong stigma that the community members face, and they do not seek health care because of those stigmas. So that's something that we really need to get away from in 2026, because it's not just community members who are HIV positive, it's more or less general population. It's out there.
I hear you, Mary, right? I hear you, Mary, but and I understand what you guys are trying to do in terms of protecting the stigma and all that. But for me, at the end of the day, it's just a fact. If at the end of the day there's medical information to show that factually that is the case, that is all we're asking. For me, it's not about whether you do or don't and who do or who don't, because there are people who are not in the LGBT community or in SKN Alliance who may be having anal sex with whoever else outside. The fact is, if it is the fact that from a medical standpoint that is it, what is the difficulty in admitting it? Yes, it may cause people not to want to maybe go that way or route or whatever it is, but it's just a fact. If it is so, I was just trying to get the fact. That's all. If it is, if you're still
But what is
feel
the
that way,
what is the fact, Yahsonn? What is the fact? Is that a fact?
from what I've heard, yes, I've heard that from medical professionals in the past. But I was just trying to get it also from a medical professional, since she's on the platform, that there is evidence that AIDS is easier transmitted via anal sex. It's one of the more prevalent ways of it being transmitted.
We mean easier. We're saying
But if
whether
you
to blood
already know the
transfusion, whether to no, saying whether to blood transfusion, whether to male and female. What are you saying?
Whether it's male or female or male and male, anal sex. Bottom
So
line.
clarify.
That's what medical professionals.
But you're asking her specific. But what he said, what Tiny said is that is across the board. But you make it. I trained. You want a specific answer? That's what I'm trying to get, because you just said what is female. So I'm trying to understand what you specifically saying.
Okay. So what I'm saying is,
you already answered your own question.
That's the whole point.
I wanted to hear from the medical professional. Me and the medical professional.
You just say it's whether male or female, Yahsonn. You just say whether it's male or female, it's anal sex. That's what you just say now. So you did not say male or male. No, I want to clarify. Remember,
but I clarified it already. I said whether it's male or male and female, as long as it's anal sex, from what I understand, AIDS is easier transmitted via that form. It is more easily or readily transferred via that form of sex. So you could get it from regular sex, you could get it from even oral sex, but that form is the more prevalent form. Anyway, with that said, we have gone more than over time, and I see this signal in the background and so on, and so we're going to give Tiny, well, Mary, sorry, you could finish up, and then we'll give Tiny an opportunity to wrap up, and then Bankie. Mary, continue.
I already finished.
Oh, you're done? Okay. Tiny? Yes, Tiny.
For me, what I want to say. I mean, I want to say first that as a community, we respect that people have different views. Understand? And for me, that's why respectful dialogue is important. And we always hope that conversation like this help to build understanding both ways across. Understand? So in my wrap up, I want to thank you guys for creating this platform for this dialogue. I mean, at SKN Alliance,
Appreciate it.
we definitely believe that every citizen deserve dignity, respect, and the opportunity to contribute to the national development. Our goal is definitely not to bring division. It's basically to understand partnership and bring inclusion because for us, we feel like no one should left behind in Saints and Nevis, regardless of your sexual orientation or anything like that. So for me, that's my wrap up. So thank you once again for providing this space.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bankie. Thank you, Mary. Bankie, you're closing.
Well, I just want to thank our guests, Tiny and Mary, for definitely taking the invitation for being a part of the Topiks and Real Intimate Network. Great clip is coming out and disseminating your information. And that is what the topic is all about. Diverse conversation, respecting everyone because we all is a part of the community and we don't have to agree on everything, but at the same time, we got to respect and live within the small space of the community. So once again, I want to thank all those who tuning in to the Entertainment Network on a weekly basis. Friday coming up will be Kyle Marshall, where we have a special edition of the top. Definitely looking forward for that reasoning, and also want to give in advance thanks, Kyle, for being accepting the invitation also and being a part of the reasoning coming up on Friday. So definitely put that out there. And once again, thank all those to come out on a regular basis as last stop and continue supporting the farm. And remember, tomorrow is also roti. We can come and get your veggie and chicken roti, and then Thursday you get your curry chicken. Friday you get your cook up, and then Saturday you get your cornmeal and fish and okra and oxtail and chicken and your all the local drinks just available: cucumber drink, melon juice, marby, and anything else you want and stuff like that. So again, the best plantain chips in the house, sugar cake. You have, you got guava cheese, you have your mango cheese, and snacks that people are here visiting the island want stuff to take back. Come out and check out Monsters Last Stop to get to know all the stuff. So once again, I want to thank our guests for taking the invitation and coming out, and Real Entertainment and the Topics is here anytime you want to be a part of the show to disseminate any information. So thank out. And remember, Monday coming up is the sending home funeral for my cousin Aisha. Her son had transitioned suddenly, just out there studying to be an architect. He would have been graduating next year and just suddenly come down with a brain tumor. And it's just really shocking. Parents plan this child going out to study and coming back home and just come down sick, just like that with no warning. So it's really tough. And definitely she's back here and it's not easy. So it's really rough. And that happened since July 4th, around the Mango Festival weekend. So we still toughen it out because she had lost her dad less than 3 years ago. So it's really rough. And now she lost her son, who should be graduating and coming back home, being a part of the community, showing his skill and building the landscape in his architectural design and stuff like that. So definitely when you see Aisha, give her a hug, give her support. And thanks again for all those who are coming out again. Can't thank you enough. Definitely looking forward for the reasoning on Friday with Kyle Marshall again. Yahsonn?
Yeah, well, Bankie, I just want to give thanks to, the guests for, coming out and sharing the information that they would have shared. Amidst the society that we live in, it's always important to get information out. Folks, this is the Topiks, and we are not limited to any, topic. And this is what we are demonstrating here, that we may have our views and opinions, but right now it's not necessarily about my views and opinion. It's about dissemination of information and giving them an opportunity to highlight and inform the public more about their organization. There are things that I, know, and so I don't necessarily have to, seek to impose any views or opinion. There's some people who would have sought to, say, well, Rastafari, because Rastafari, bonfire, and a lot of different things. But for me right now, all I would say, I know that just like how I knew at the end of the day, I ended with a fact in terms of what I know about HIV and anal sex. I know also that male and male cannot multiply, and female cannot multiply, and so that will just cross itself out eventually. So there's no need for any fight and push and all that. So with that said, give thanks to everybody who would have logged in. We look forward to having you on Friday when we have another edition. Mary, Tiny, Bankie, Real Entertainment Network. Give thanks everybody. Before you leave, subscribe to the notification bell, subscribe to our Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube, and see you guys on Friday.
The Topiks, Bankie Yahsonn, real conversations. Hey. Lately we be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with the people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Tuesday night and everybody tuned in live. Bankie and Yahsonn bringing reasoning every time. Talking politics and the things affecting lives. Breaking down the stories they be trying to hide. Used to trust the system, now the trust gone. Everybody talking loud, but the facts wrong. People tired of the fake and the gimmicks too, so they coming to the Topiks for a clearer view. Got the whole Caribbean locked on the station. Real Entertainment Network, building conversations. No script vibes, not staged for the camera. Just real people talking straight with stamina.